Part 68. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 673. Aboard the giant mosquito fleet in an unknown place, Jia Yan naturally didn't know that in Taia at this moment, the leader of the country was having a headache for himself and others. Delta. Of course, the situation of the Juwan fleet cannot be hidden from the people of Taia. When the lost princess, returns, any normal country leader will have some scruples, and Jia Yan is also prepared for the opponent to use some small tricks. Prepare. Fortunately, there are many alliances in the Northern Star region that are disdainful of the changes in Taia in the past 3 years. So now that has returned with my giant mosquito fleet, there are also some forces secretly helping. However, due to the Taia, Asia is still a big country exporting science and technology. If does not gain power in the future, it will be difficult for them to associate with the renegade family. So now these forces are still hiding behind it. When really has hope of winning, their help only then will it truly be reflected. When Jia Yan was not practicing, he thought about the things to note about Taia Kingdom. After thinking more, he also gained a lot more understanding of the political games in the Northern Star territory. The rules of the game here are that no matter how the small and medium-sized forces play, it is best not to affect the large forces. Those large forces always swam in the battles between the forces below and reaped the benefits. During these days of sailing, the giant mosquito fleet was getting more and more on the right track. After most of the members learned about Kama's strength and her identity, they began to unconditionally obey Kama's command. These people who were originally in the deserted galaxy or under Rongbo were not doing very well. Now they have followed the fleet of the Mosquito and finally made some decent achievements. And if Kama regains his identity, the future glory of the giant Mosquito fleet can be foreseen, so at this time, Kama can always obey obediently. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Kama asked Jia Yan for permission to conduct an internal comparison and test within the giant mosquito fleet. Huh? There are actually 3 heavenly level peaks. In addition to 2 captains, there is also an unknown one who is just an adjutant in a fleet. Very good. Go and ask these people to come. I see. Look. When the results were placed in front of Jia Yan was a little shocked to find that there were several peak heaven level beings hidden in the fleet. Now he immediately asked Kama to call out these people. Master Jia Yan, do you call us? When the 2 captains and a peak level expert appeared in front of Jia Yan, these 3 beings were a little frightened. Although they are the strongest in the entire giant mosquito fleet except Jia Yan, they have to compare with who to compare with. It is said that the heaven level is very powerful, but compared with Jia Yan, who can even defeat the starry sky level venerable. Come on, those are really small dishes among small dishes. Jia Yan can even use his brainwave power from a distance to kill them directly. Jia Yan said directly to these 3 people, you all should tell us about your cultivation time, your cultivation skills, etc. Among these 3 monsters, 2 are captains, and Jia Yan is familiar with them, but the other one is an ordinary adjutant in a battleship. Regarding this monster, Jia Yan is not very familiar with the opponent's race. He only knows the guy seems to be hiding some power. There were not many surprises. The 2 captains were both at a level of cultivation that Jia Yan had known for a long time, and they were also slightly older. I am an orphan who grew up in a desolate galaxy. It is said that my father is a hero among the natives in the desolate galaxy, but no one knows if this is true. Because I don't like the top 10 powerful men, I left. I came to the desolate star territory and wanted to create a business with you. The adjutant was very honest to Jia Yan, and Jia Yan could see that he was not lying. The other party's strength was much different from Jia Yan's. I guess this guy also knew how to lie, and it was easy for Jia Yan to spot it, so he told him directly. Your strength is at the peak of the heaven level. Although you are not strong enough, you are still enough to be the captain of a small mobile team. Why would you rather be an adjutant? And I asked, your actual power is not great, Jia Yan said calmly, looking at the other party. There was an inexplicable luster in his eyes without the slightest emotion. Under Jia Yan's gaze, this peak-level existence of about 10 meters in length almost shivered in fear, but he also looked a little tough and stood there forcefully. Sir, because I was born, I have learned very little before, but I am still young, so I am willing to take a position with a low status and just know something. Only then will I have better opportunities in the future, he said. Is it equivalent to about 50 years old in Earth years? Well, he is considered young among the peak heaven level experts. Jia Yan silently thought about his age in his heart and nodded. Of course, Jia Yan didn't compare this guy with himself, because even now, it's hard to say whether Jia Yan's age after rebirth has exceeded 30 years. This still counts the time he wasted in gravitational waves. If he only existed counting within the normal time of birth, he is not even 20 years old. None of the powerful monsters in the universe that Jia Yan has ever seen can compare with his talent, because his growth trajectory is really indescribable, almost to a degree that defies heaven. Even the light and shadow monster heard Jia Yan talk about his own after growing up. I was almost dumbfounded and couldn't say a word for a long time. This guy has lived for more than 50 years and has reached this level. He can be considered a moderate genius. Okay, I'm optimistic about your strength and talent. Now you stay here and I will give you some guidance. Jia Yan looked at the nervous monster and said directly. Advice? Lord Jia Yan of the giant Mosquito clan, will you personally advise me? The young monster was a little stunned when he heard this. He originally thought that he was despised by the giant Mosquito fleet again because of his birth. When he was in the desolate star territory, every time someone knew that he was a descendant of the indigenous people who resisted the top 10 powerful people, they would drive him away. Logically speaking, the giant Mosquito's this kind of situation would not happen in the fleet, but he still thought about it. Unexpectedly, Master Jia Yan was actually going to give him personal guidance. Boy, why don't you thank me quickly? One of the two captains saw that this guy was stunned and smiled and patted the other person. Having met Jia Yan many times, these captains are not that afraid of Jia Yan. Don't leave either. Just watch on the sidelines later. Summarize any cultivation issues in your mind. I'll give you 15 minutes of questioning time every day. Jia Yan looked at these two guys and did not chase them away. Walk. Really? Thank you, Mr. Jia Yan. After hearing what Jia Yan said, the two captains quickly thanked him. And the young monster also lowered his head in gratitude. Jia Yan nodded, and then said seriously to the three of them, you three, don't be too happy too early. I am accompanying you three because I want to get a starry sky level among the three of you. The next one will be if not even one of the three of you can reach the starry sky level in this month, it will be a huge disappointment to me. I hope you work hard. A month to starry sky level. When the three monsters heard this, they all looked at each other, and then looked at each other with cruel hearts, feeling that they really had to work hard. Okay, Karma, come on too. You are younger than them all and will soon reach the peak of the heaven level. When you reach the peak of the heaven level, I will give you better things. Your strength will increase. Is the most useful to the entire fleet, Jia Yan said to Kama, who was listening to this on the other side of the communicator. No, boss, I don't like practicing. Kama on the other side shouted like a coquettish person. You don't like practicing, but you can still reach the mid-level heaven level at this age? Okay, I am more satisfied with your talent. Now I order you to come here for an hour every day. During this hour, I will conduct more rigorous training for you. Maybe within a month, you can reach the starry sky level, Jia Yan said teasingly. Okay, I'll go. Don't let me reach the starry sky level in 1 month. I'm not the boss. Kama was really afraid that Jia Yan would ask her to reach the starry sky level in 1 month. She didn't believe it at first. Yes, it can be seen that after seeing Jia Yan's promotion level, Karma realized that there really is such a terrifying promotion level in the world, but it is really impossible for her to do it. In the following time, Jia Yan conducted special training for himself and at the same time gave pointers to some of the strange soldiers in the fleet who were worthy of being taken care of. The entire fleet seemed to be getting stronger. This is why Kama calls this period of time the Giant Mosquito Fleet Training Day. Yesterday, another Earth-level being was promoted to the Heaven level. This is the 5th consecutive day of promotion. Boss, your broadcast guidance is really useful. A tall woman with a delicate and beautiful figure stands proudly next to the terrifying giant mosquito. This is naturally Kama. At this moment, this woman with a body of 5 meters is pointing at the information of a monster on the light screen and constantly explaining to Jia Yan beside her. It is said that he is only in his 40s, and I would say he is worth raising. This woman has not changed much since she was known to be a princess. She is still so carefree. According to the information obtained from the media network, this princess was once punished by her family for being unladylike. You said that other people are geniuses when they are in their 40s. It seems to me that you are not even 30 years old. Now you are almost at the peak of heaven. Aren't you even more of a genius? Jia Yan shook his head. This woman said to her subordinates he attaches great importance to his talent, but he doesn't pay much attention to his own talent. I'm different. I don't want to be a strong person. I'm destined to be a commander. Kama felt a little uncomfortable when he heard Jia Yan talking about his talent. Besides, this is all because of your guidance. I couldn't have reached the peak of the heaven level so quickly. Jia Yan looked at her non-committally, and then snickered in his heart. In fact, how could he really be that powerful? If he had been the one to point these guys out a few months ago, they would have been lucky if Jia Yan didn't point them out and become obsessed. And now Jia Yan is able to give guidance to these guys because after gaining knowledge of light and shadow monsters, Jia Yan combined some of his own opinions to give guidance to these heaven-level monsters. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 674. Jia Yan also benefited from these suggestions, because the ordinary monsters in the fleet would often mention small directions that even Jia Yan had not noticed. This is why when everyone adds firewood, the flames will rise. When Jia Yan thinks about it alone, some things are really impossible to think of. After making up for the missing details, I now have a way to review my cultivation past, and even corrected a few flaws in my cultivation that I had not noticed. In addition to giving guidance to others, he has not fallen behind in his own cultivation, because for him, the progress of the entire fleet is not as good as his own progress. After all, Jia Yan is determined to become a strong person, and the growth of the fleet is only for him. To serve the purpose of personal cultivation. Time passed quickly in fulfillment, and the entire giant mosquito fleet became more and more powerful in practice. Kama's tactics of defeating Wei were practiced no less than 5 times in a month. Because the entire fleet had experienced a great victory and only 5 warships were killed or injured, the fleet members were extremely motivated to train. In just 1 month, everyone's understanding and cooperation of Pinguo Wei's tactics have improved a lot. Namoke finally gave in to Kama's commanding ability, and the little tricks he had been tinkering with stopped, because he knew that he and Kama were not only far behind in status, but also in strength, so he could no longer resist. Hard. As for the increase in personal strength, just as Jia Yan had seen before, the young peak-level monster became the entire fleet except Jia Yan and the dead Lao Suo, who was named a martyr by Jia Yan. Wuva, the 3rd true starry sky level. As expected, the other 2 peak heaven levels have not become starry sky level. In the camp-class spaceship, Jia Yan looked at the good news of Kama's arrival. Not only was he not too happy, but he felt a little sorry for the other 2 captains. Nearly a month has passed, and the destination is right in front of him. Jia Yan's plan to accompany the 3 peaks of the sky level to become a starry sky level has been shattered. Fortunately, there is still one of Jia Yan's most promising beings who has become a starry sky level. It's better than not. The addition of an extra starry sky level can be considered to have greatly strengthened the fleet's vacancy in strong men. Under certain circumstances in the future, this starry sky level may also play a big role, Jia Yan said about the promotion. There is not much joy in the starry sky level, because his combat level is far beyond what the newly promoted starry sky levels can get involved in. Although Jia Yan looked down upon him, the entire fleet was greatly encouraged by the appearance of this starry sky class. For these soldiers who had left their homes, what they wanted was nothing more than future prospects. If they could enhance their strength is the real benefit to them. If Jia Yan has the ability to raise one starry sky level, he will have the ability to raise the next one, and the existence of the promotion also teaches other fleet members under Jia Yan's order. In this virtuous circle, the entire fleet, the strength of the fleet will be greatly improved. Of course, the reason for the great advancement is that the members of the giant Mosquito fleet are too weak. If it is strong enough, even Jia Yan's personal guidance will not have much effect, because in the later stage, it will all be his own. Realize time, no matter how talented the strong person is, the advice is useless. Sir, the Dragon Bell Star is in front of us. We have been moving forward in silence for a long time, and we have spared many Alliance eyes. In addition, I have some connections in the Northern Star territory, so I have hidden it from almost everyone, but now we must. If it appears, there may be some disturbances next. Just as they were approaching their destination, Kama's communication request came out with such words. Not going out is not an option, go ahead. Jia Yan shook his head helplessly. The silence of a month was destined to be impossible to last. The giant Mosquito fleet has been traveling for a long time. It's not that there are no forces in the Northern Star territory. It's because Kama chose some alliance areas that should not be hostile to the giant Mosquito fleet to travel. As a result, along the way, the entire fleet was not invaded by these forces. And state obstruction. What needs to be tested is not only the familiarity with the Northern Star territory, but also the mind of a commanding officer. Jia Yan did not know how many times he had heard Kama talk to some alliance bureaucrats about certain words, among which it was nothing more than making some verbal promises to those alliances or power bureaucrats, and after all this hard work, we were able to pass through a vast area of the universe without any danger. Dragon Bell Star, this is a planet in the Northern Star Field, close to the south. The Taiya Kingdom where he, Jia Yan and others are about to go is approaching. For a period of time in history, it was still the territory of the Taiya Kingdom, so it is extremely normal for the Taiya Kingdom subjugated soldiers to go into exile here. Dragon Bell Planet belongs to a planet called the Black Wind Alliance. Because it is close to the center of the Northern Star Field, the Black Wind Alliance is naturally extremely powerful. In fact, the countries in the entire central region have their own characteristics. Even the Pacific Kingdom is based on science and technology. Even this country is not strong in force. It is not that it really has no fighting ability, but that in this central region, such a small country, no matter how much it develops, it is impossible to compare with the big powers, so that the entire country only develops technology and has become one of the important technological original places in the Northern Star territory. It is difficult for these small countries to be overthrown or attacked, because the forces in the central region are roughly clearly distributed, and the existence of small countries is also necessary. Because of its technological capabilities, Taiya country is protected by several surrounding alliances. But no one could have imagined that a large family from the Pacific Kingdom would take action against the royal family. This kind of turmoil caused some chaos in the central area of the Northern Star territory, which was originally stable. Fortunately, after 3 years, it calmed down again. However, I did not expect that the exiled princess of Taiya Kingdom found a giant from nowhere. The Mosquito fleet also has a being with the demeanor of a top powerhouse, the giant Mosquito clan strongman Jia Yan. At this time, the entire central area of the Northern Star Alliance was in a state of turmoil. Nakama and the giant Mosquito fleet have disappeared for a month. We are sure that she and that fleet will appear near the Dragon Bell star. It is absolutely right to wait here. Dear viewers, this frontline announcer has been guarding here for half a month. There are more and more colleagues around, as well as spies from major forces. It can be seen that almost everyone has concluded that this giant Mosquito fleet will definitely appear, that is, I wonder when they will come here after disappearing for a long time. The Northern Star Alliance media outlets have spread all over the outskirts of Longzhou planet for a long time. In addition, a bunch of power spies and even some starry sky-level powerhouses have appeared here, making this Dragon Bell planet without many characteristics. As if it has become a tourist attraction, very eye-catching. Originally it was just an alliance war on the edge of the Northern Star Territory. For the creatures in the Central Star Territory, they would not pay attention at all. But when this involves the Princess of Tadia Kingdom, the situation is different. The entire Northern Star Territory in the central area, a few years ago, there was a trace of instability due to the chaos in the Pacific Kingdom. At this moment, people in these central areas are naturally very concerned about the movements of the giant Mosquito fleet. It is natural for the media and powerful spies to come to Longzhou. If Kama wants to return to Tadia, she cannot rely solely on the giant Mosquito fleet. However, Dragon Bell planet has her natural sources of soldiers and her combat skills are pretty good. There is no reason why she would not come here. Sure enough, a media staff member was getting a little upset after waiting for more than half a month. Here it comes. News from the outside says that the signal source of the unknown fleet has been detected. They actually came from the southwest. I understand. This fleet must have charted a route that none of us could have guessed. There were some alliances friendly to the former Pacific royal family along the way, so they were able to pass smoothly. The entire media and forces that were paying attention to Cheng's situation were acting strangely. Through remote monitoring of ships, media workers and information sharing spies detected news about the giant Mosquito fleet. Sure enough, the Dragon Bell star is more than 500 million kilometers away. Huge ships are flying slowly in space. These warships are all painted with clear giant Mosquito patterns. Under the background of this pattern, everyone can know that they are the giant Mosquito fleet that has recently become somewhat famous in the Northern Star Territory. It is obviously just a medium-sized fleet that can be seen everywhere. It is even considered weak among the medium-sized fleets, but it has attracted the attention of the unaffiliated. This makes many medium-sized forces who want to be famous, and even smaller ones, big powers are envious. However, the strength of the giant Mosquito fleet can not only be measured by the number of battleships. Jia Yan's personal strength of a starry sky warrior who is almost leapfrogging the enemy, coupled with Kama's tactics of surpassing Wei, the two combined are almost overwhelming. The giant Mosquito fleet has the strength to match a large fleet, so it is normal to attract such attention. Of course, people who are paying attention to this matter are more concerned about whether the giant Mosquito fleet can really obtain the domestic combat power on Dragon Bell planet. If it can regain these combat capabilities, then the strength of the giant Mosquito fleet will be improved again. Coupled with the factors of Jia Yan and Kama, it even truly belongs to the category of large forces. In space. Sir, there was a detection signal across our fleet just now. We are sure that we have been discovered. I wonder if we should take countermeasures or change direction. No need, just go through it openly. In the camp-level spaceship, Kama asked Jia Yan, and then received this answer from Jia Yan. Karma didn't think much, and directly ordered the entire fleet to sail normally, targeting the Dragon Bell star. An Earth-like planet is far away, 700 million kilometers away, even Jia Yan's powerful eyes cannot see it. But in the map of the technological battleship, this planet is close enough and extremely dazzling. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 675. If you look at our route, our left country is actually where your country Taia is. Just when the entire fleet command was extremely solemn, Jia Yan suddenly asked this question. Delta. Karma was watching the surveying and mapping data. She was not as optimistic as Jia Yan about the upcoming Long Zhongxing and his party. When she heard Jia Yan's question, she couldn't help but be startled. Putting his eyes on the huge light screen facing the martial commander, Kame-su pointed, and the starry sky to the left of the fleet appeared on it. Although there was nothing there, Kama still seemed to see something, and then nodded. Yes, that is where my motherland Taia is. Haha, you are so close to your hometown, so don't look so sad and be happy. Jia Yan smiled lightly at him. Kama was startled, then looked around, and then realized why Jia Yan said that. It turned out that the entire fleet was affected by her, the marshal's previous dignity, and everyone was nervous. At this moment, she was opposite the communication screen, smiling at Jia Yan with bright eyes and white teeth, so sweet that it shocked people's hearts. Okay, I was wrong, boss. After turning off the communication screen, Jia Yan felt that his quality as a master had increased a little. After all, what this requires is to stabilize the mood of his subordinates, and what he is doing now is not bad. Sir, there is a battleship coming ahead, and its flag is the Dragon Bell Star. Okay, let them come. Jia Yan said this to Kama, and then waited in silence. The next trip to Longzhong Star is not known whether it is good or bad, but this trip is essential, because Taia is not only related to the restoration of Kama, but also whether Jia Yan can pass through Taia. The technology team is the key to finding a way home. Kama is riding in a large battleship. This battleship is a giant battleship independently produced by the Houda Alliance. Although it is not as good as the Camp-class spacecraft of the Kudetans, it is still 1.5 kilometers long. If it were not for the internal space due to the need in order to relocate strategic supplies, Jia Yan might have moved here. The next Long Zhongxing and his party, as long as everything goes well, will be able to return to my homeland. Just wait, the Tengo clan, the captured clansmen, and the father and queen who have no news so far, I will bring Taia back. Karma looked at the approaching small light spot on the screen, impatience flashing in his eyes. Because she knew that although Long Zhongxing's senior officials had certain combat capabilities, they were timid towards outside forces, so the most they could do now was to make symbolic inquiries. If you really want to stop the giant Mosquito fleet, you can't just send out such a warship. Fleet ahead, if you continue to move forward, you will reach the boundary of our Dragon Bell Star. Please identify yourself, otherwise we have the right to treat you as an enemy and take countermeasures. In the public communication channel, the message from the battleship came. This is what every force must say to unknown visitors. For Kama, she feels that with the arrival of her fleet, the other party must understand who she is. We are the giant Mosquito fleet. Please forgive this fleet for coming uninvited, and please allow this fleet to pass. We are here for a friendly visit to Dragon Bell Planet. Kama also responded in a formulaic manner. It is said to be a friendly visit, but in fact it is here to accept the exiled warriors of Long Zhongxing. Anyone with a discerning eye can see this. Although Long Zhongxing has not experienced too many wars, this can at least be seen. After Kama sent this news, I don't know why, but he waited for a long time. She knew that this kind of procedural problem would take a long time, but she never expected that what awaited her would be an unexpected result. Giant Mosquito fleet? I'm sorry. After our investigation, we found that a fleet claiming to be Giant Mosquito fleet arrived at Longzhong Planet 2 star hours ago. Please don't pretend to be a member of Giant Mosquito fleet, otherwise we will regard you as an intruder. This reply made Deckerma feel a little stunned. The giant Mosquito fleet has arrived. Impossible. We are still here, what is going on? Marshal, it's bad. We received the media signal here, which is a report of another giant Mosquito fleet coming here. Suddenly, a subordinate's scream reached Karma's ears, causing her to turn her eyes away in shock. Then Karma let out a surprised sound. A moment later, Jia Yan was in the camp-class spacecraft. Huh? Before us, there was already a fleet force calling itself the Giant Mosquito Fleet, which came to Dragon Bell Planet. What on earth is going on? Jia Yan listened to Kama's report with some confusion. He was confused. Kama actually said that before them, there was a force calling itself the Giant Mosquito Fleet, which came to the Dragon Bell Planet, and also represented his Giant Mosquito Fleet made a major announcement to the media. I am the Commander-in-Chief of the Giant Mosquito Fleet and the Fleet Marshal Kama. I believe everyone knows me and understands that I am the former Princess of Tadia and the first in line to succeed. Now I am announcing on Dragon Bell Planet that the Giant Mosquito Fleet I will always maintain a friendly and cooperative relationship with the new King of Tadia Kingdom and never invade each other. My status is quite special, so in the days to come, the Giant Mosquito Fleet will not exert any pressure on Tadia Kingdom in my name. Please also ask the media and major forces present to be present as witnesses. When Jia Yan saw the statement sent by Kama, he was stunned. The being speaking in this statement is a beautiful woman of the Bella clan who is 5 to 6 meters tall, and after being dressed up, she looks very similar to Kama. The statement she made was actually an endorsement of the existing leadership of the Tadia clan. Jia Yan also saw a huge terrifying figure standing behind Kama in the statement video. This figure has a slender mouth, 6 long legs, and is all blue. If he doesn't pay attention at a glance, he will think that this is what he looks like after breaking out of the blue defense. I'll go. Could this be the so-called Li Kuei meeting Li Gui? You're trying to play a real and fake princess on us, Jia Yan was really shocked. Now it's interesting. This is the first time he has encountered such an enemy in the starry sky. He is indeed worthy of being in the northern star region. Even playing tricks is extremely unexpected. If Jia Yan is an outsider, he might believe it. This is the so-called Giant Mosquito Fleet. But when Jia Yan heard Kama in the video say a word, there was a kind of silence. Only then did he understand the other party's sinister intentions. In order to show my Kama's sincerity, I officially announced on this Dragon Bell Star that we will dismiss our country's exiled warriors here, and at the same time declare that we will never carry out restoration actions of the original Tadia ruling royal family. This is a consideration for the people's livelihood of the people of Tadia. I also made my major decision for the sake of the stability of the entire Northern Star Alliance. After a moment of silence in the video, the entire venue was filled with noise from the media and other powerful figures, as well as the Bella clan clapping. Under the thunderous cheers, Nakama continued to make impassioned anti-war remarks, seeming to regard all beings who want to fight against the current ruling family of Tadia as evil, destabilizing the Northern Star Alliance, and everyone will be punished. Jia Yan watched the entire video speechlessly, and then saw Kama who connected with him after seeing the video. The princess was also confused at this moment. This was obviously a fake show, and it actually made her feel like she didn't know what to do. Kama, let's move on. This fake must be an illusion created by your current enemies of the Tadia clan. If we don't move forward, the fake will become real. God knows how their minds grow. You can still be so whimsical. It's really unexpected to think of such a way to decipher our actions. Jia Yan looked at Kama speechlessly and said. The Jia Yan and Kama in the video were almost fake to the point of being real. Even the giant Mosquito fleet captured in the footage broadcast by the media was actually about 7 or 8 times the size of their current giant Mosquito fleet. You must know that the giant Mosquito fleet has just received the new warships of the Howdah Alliance and rushed to the central area of the Northern Star Territory. No one knows what their current fleet looks like. As a result, the Ligoi in the picture is still there. I really deceived all the media, or even if these media saw through it, it would be impossible to tell them. Because this is the unified approach of the entire Northern Star territory towards external forces. Even though Kama herself is the princess of the Taya clan, these forces still maintain the slightest hostility towards the giant Mosquito fleet. The fleet ahead of us is of unknown origin. We warn you again. Please leave the defense zone of this planet quickly. If you continue to move forward, our planet will treat you as an enemy and fight back. The warship that came for questioning now issued an ultimatum. Boss, what should we do? This blocking warship must be connected with the other party, but if we don't go over, the imposters will become the real us. Even if we jump out and say anything in the future, it won't matter. Some people will believe it. Kama was a little at a loss. Even if she was smart, she never imagined that the enemy would think of this method to deal with the giant Mosquito fleet, and the jam time happened to be the moment when the giant Mosquito fleet arrived. If they destroy the Dragon Bell Star battleship in front of them and move forward, then the fact of attacking Dragon Bell Star will be confirmed, and the entire Northern Alliance will attack the giant Mosquito fleet. But if we don't enter the Dragon Bell planet, then the unknown fleet pretending to be the giant Mosquito fleet will release more rhetoric that is unfavorable to the giant Mosquito fleet's future attack on the Pacific Kingdom, or simply do something on behalf of the giant Mosquito fleet that is not in the interests of the giant Mosquito fleet. It can be said to be extremely harmful. Neither advancing nor retreating. At this moment, Karma couldn't think of what to do. What should I do? Haha. Jia Yan smiled. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito author, Bulletin U. Chapter 676. The gleam in his compound eyes flashed slightly, and Jia Yan's thoughts in his heart made a judgment about the situation at this moment. Boss, do you really have any idea? Kama looked at Jia Yan through the communicator in astonishment. That's right, you don't have to go there next. I'll go to Longzhong Star by myself, Jia Yan said lightly. Aren't we going? Kama didn't understand. Yes, I'm going to expose the lies of those two guys first, and then have some contact with your old subordinates. It must be easy for those veterans to discover such a simple lie, right? You should contact them first. Jia Yan said a few words without too much fuss, and then slowly stood up from the ground of the spacecraft. Jia Yan, you have to get closer so that I can detect the combat power on the Dragon Bell Star. After all, I am not a god. Even a star-level powerhouse can hardly detect a powerhouse hundreds of millions of kilometers away. Inside his body, the light and shadow monster said something. Okay, then I will get closer. I hope Senior can keep an eye on me, and my life will be in your hands. Jia Yan walked out of the camp-class spacecraft, and then he walked lightly towards the outside world through the opened ship's side door. In the starry sky at this moment, a little bit of light material is shining. This is the reason why the star field is occupied by the sky. It is said that in the northern star field, even the interstellar matter on the edge of the galaxy is full of people, and even more so. There are countless countries. This shows the prosperity and huge population of this place. And those shining bright substances are all residential stars filled with living things. Some of them are extremely small, and some are terrestrial planets like the Earth. They complement each other, making the entire starry sky shine with brilliance, which is very beautiful. After not watching for long, Jia Yan said goodbye to Kama and other senior officials again, and then took off. The temperature in the universe is extremely low, or in other words, there is no temperature at all in the starry sky of the universe, because there is no temperature conducting air here. But a substance will always slowly lose its heat in the universe, causing it to eventually become almost the coldest object. Fortunately, as a starry sky level being, Jia Yan has excellent resistance to the temperature in the universe, so he doesn't feel too cold at the moment. He flew in the interstellar space without stopping too much, and went directly to hundreds of millions of kilometers away, because the distance of hundreds of millions of kilometers may be extremely close to a battleship, but for Jia Yan, it is still a bit far. It takes a while to fly. Will your fleet tell you who you belong to? Otherwise Long Zhongxin will drive you away. Flying near a battleship, Jia Yan smiled lightly, but the other party didn't notice his presence at all. For starry sky-level existences, as long as the opponent is not a powerful battleship, or has turned on full power detection, they will not be easily detected by the battleship's detection system. Jia Yan is hiding his own energy fluctuations at this moment. This monitoring giant Mosquito, the fleet's warships were completely unable to detect him. Kama must have a way to delay this battleship, right? Jia Yan did not want to disturb the battleship, but flew past quickly. Although the giant Mosquito is considered to be the largest among living creatures, in terms of the entire universe, it is about the same size as a human being, and is just a tiny ant. So at this time, he is flying in the sky of the universe, feeling that the world is infinitely broad. Even if he is, no matter how strong you are, it's just the feeling of a fleeting moment. Of course, this is actually the case. No matter how powerful the strong man is, no matter how high-tech the cosmic race is, to the entire universe, or even just the entire galaxy, it is just an inconspicuous flea, and even a star-level one may be just a slightly more powerful flea. The universe is so big that people have unlimited interest in exploration. Jia Yan couldn't help but be deeply in awe of the starry sky in front of him, and he also had the idea of exploring it. But he understood that no matter what he did, he would never be able to explore the entire universe. Forget it, forget it. There is no point in thinking so much. The things in front of you are the most important. I will continue to the Dragon Bell Star to see what forces are there to deal with us. Big Mosquito is extremely fast, and his accelerating ability is pretty good. As he gets to the later stages, his speed increases to a terrifying level. He arrived at a distance of hundreds of millions of kilometers in just a few days. Dragon Bell Planet is a subordinate planet of a special alliance in the Northern Star Territory. This planet is a bit special to the outside world, because this place is a planet that treats outside life in the entire Northern Star field, and there is not much local protection. This planet has been ruled by several alliances and countries in history, because this kind of history has a large number of non-native species, which has also led to the open attitude of this planet, so that many exiled politicians in the star field, as well as soldiers who have subjugated their country, make a living here. And a large number of former Pacific Asia soldiers are also one of them. At this moment, there is an inexplicable secret place on Longzhong Star. Most locals on Longzhong Planet don't know that this is the headquarters of the former Pacific Asia soldiers who were exiled here. Several members of the Bella clan who look similar to Earthlings, wearing shabby military uniforms, were in front of some high-tech equipment, looking solemnly at the screen in front of them, watching the speech of the so-called Princess Kama. This is too abominable. She is clearly not Princess Kama, but she actually used her name to say that she will not fight against the current ruling family of Taia. If such words spread, wouldn't the Northern Star Territory no longer agree with Kama? The battle for the princess's restoration of the country, a person whose strength was at the peak of the heaven level said with some gritted teeth. The strength of the soldiers present is faintly above the heaven level. They are the strongest among the exiled soldiers. There are even two existences here, exuding a terrifying aura, and they actually look like starry sky-level existences. After listening to the soldier's words, a starry sky-level existence also looks solemn. That's wrong. The rumors about Princess Kama's appearance must not be false. We analyzed the interview video of the giant Mosquito fleet before and it turned out to be Princess Kama herself. But why is it that Princess Kama who came to Dragon Bell Planet is not her? Is it fake? This starry sky-level existence actually told the truth. Yes, this fake must be trying to muddy the waters before Princess Kama. The news I just received is that some soldiers have decided to leave Dragon Bell Planet. They said that since the princess has decided not to return to the country, then they don't want to think about this anymore. They can just find a country to settle down and spend their whole lives. If this continues, even if Wang's real princess appears in the future, things will definitely be difficult to deal with. It's not just about the soldiers, but also the forces. They all saw that the fake said a lot about peace. If it's true, if the princess wants to do something, then the senses of these forces must not be very good. The two starry sky level beings spoke with incomparable solemnity. The soldiers here are only a part of the soldiers of the entire Longzhong Star's original Taia kingdom. Because they have to make a living on this planet, many people have separated, and most of the soldiers do not have a firm determination to return to the country. If the fakes are stuck, if Ma continues to attack their beliefs, then the number of soldiers that Kama can harvest here in the future may be reduced by more than half. This fake princess will appear here. Maybe the real princess will come nearby. Let's take care of those people first. It doesn't matter if we miss it if we are not determined. Even if such an existence joins the war, it will be an unstable factor. Now we need to find out where the true identity of the giant Mosquito fleet is. If we can't contact the princess, everything we say will be false. In another inexplicable place on Dragon Bell Planet, a group of several creatures stood indifferently and proudly on the top of a giant building. They were looking at the docking point of the giant Mosquito fleet not far away, with solemn expressions on their faces. Jia Yan will be in trouble before he comes to see us. Don't show up, otherwise I will be very disappointed. A monster that looked like a moth combed its slender tentacles somewhat disdainfully. Don't worry, even if he doesn't show up this time, we will take you to see him. Seeing his attitude, the monster on the other side smiled unconcernedly. I said you are also surprised. You are just for a monster from the outside world, and you want me to test him, and it is me who is looking for him. Don't you know that I am very busy? As a genius doesn't have so much time. The moth monster shook his head angrily. Of course we know you don't have much time, but in this Northern Star territory, you may be the only one qualified to compete with Jia Yan at the same level. You may even be able to support him with more than 10 moves in your hands. Yes, the monster standing next to the moth monster still said to the moth monster in a neither humble nor condescending manner. Huh, the moth monster was startled when he heard this. Then he raised his head strangely and looked at the talking monster. Are you sure you're not joking? He can support 10 moves in my hand. It's like you underestimate me. The moth monster looked extremely angry, as if he disagreed with what the other party said before, that Jia Yan could support 10 moves in his own hands. Haha, this is not what I said. In fact, I don't think this guy can support 10 moves in your hands, but this is what my family said. You can't not believe what his family said, right? Then the talking monster said to the moth monster. Your adults said it. The moth monster was startled, and then nodded respectfully. Since it was your adults who said it, I can't be angry, but I'm even more interested in Jia Yan. One thing, I have to prove it to your adults when the time comes. It is impossible for this Jia Yan to be able to withstand 10 moves in my hands. 5 moves is to look up to him. You know, I am the young star in the northern star field. The most powerful being in the world. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 677. Haha, then I'm looking forward to your performance. I know that your strength may even defeat me. The veteran Starry Sky Peak. The monster smiled and then nodded. Several powerful creatures never thought that the existence they were waiting for was flying towards Longzhong Star non-stop. Of course, Jia Yan, the monster, didn't understand what the monsters waiting for him were thinking, and up to now, he still didn't know why this so-called mercenary organization wanted to pay attention to him. For Jia Yan, these things are not what he is thinking about now. In the boundless starry sky, a monster flew quickly among them. Boy, the Dragon Bell planet is about to arrive. Your brainwave power cannot avoid real detection. Fortunately, there are many warships and spaceships on the planet today. If you find a way to sneak into one, you can enter. The light and shadow monster is inside Jia Yan's body, lifting him up. What about the strong men? Can you see the details of Long Zongxing's strong men now? There are not many strong people. There is one venerable, but he must be the one who originally sat in charge of Longzhong Star. As long as you don't cause trouble on Longzhong Star, he will probably not care about you. But among the other strong people, there are a few. It's a very powerful peak starry sky level. You have to be careful. Light, shadow, and light objects actually have the ability to know how many powerful people there are on Dragon Bell planet, even though they are millions of kilometers away from the planet. At this moment, he directly reported the combat power of the Dragon Bell star to Jia Yan Changfeng Wenshui, W upward arrow www.cfw_x.net. There is actually a peak expert that even the seniors think is powerful? I have to be careful, Jia Yan said a little solemnly. In space, millions of miles away, a spherical object appeared like a bright light in the darkness. This spherical object is not completely round, but has two poles. It protrudes a little due to some unknown force. It looks like the poles are wearing hats, which is extremely weird. This planet is really developed. Such a planet is actually a backward planet in the center of the northern star field. I don't even know what a truly advanced planet looks like. Jia Yan looked at the planet with some surprise, feeling a sense of alien technology. After all, there is a gap of many years between the technological strength of the Earth and here. However, he can't be regarded as an Earth creature that has never seen the world. At this time, he flew away quickly, and the Dragon Bell star was also approaching very quickly in front of his eyes. Dragon Bell planet is a planet whose surface is mostly covered with metal. The entire planet is extremely efficiently used. With such a high utilization rate, it also has a good ecology. Because the plants on Dragon Bell planet are light blue, so the color of the planet is distinct. The areas covered with metal are bright silver, and the areas covered with vegetation are bright cyan. However, this semi-tourist planet, which is not a political center, has a vague sense of urgency at this moment. There are some battleships and strong men moving on the entire surface of the planet. Under the clouds, there is also a famous man who looks frightened by this scene. Civilian creatures. This place is close to the main living area of the Bella clan, so there are many Bella clans here, and those who are not powerful are about the same size as ordinary Earthlings. I don't know why this race developed individuals with such huge differences in size. Might be a good evolutionary reference if they were known to people on Earth. Mom, is Princess Kama on TV just now the princess of our Bella clan? No, this Kama is the princess of Tadia Star, but not the princess of our entire Bella clan. Then in our Bella clan, besides Princess Kama, do we have other princesses? Linlin also wants to be a princess. Well, a group of mothers and daughters were having a conversation under the moonlight. On this beautiful planet, the Bella family could still live peacefully. However, her daughter's innocent words made her mother a little confused about how to answer, because she knew that in the entire Northern Star territory, although the number of their Bella clan was large, there were not many naturally strong people in the race. This country is a country established by the Bella tribe. It is a pity that although the current king of Tadia Kingdom is a traditional family member of Tadia Kingdom, he is not a pure bloodline of the Bella family. In this way, the Bella family members no longer have the capital to be proud of. It is said that in the past 3 years, the status of the Bella family has declined a lot in the entire Northern Star territory. Not knowing how to answer her daughter, the mother had to change the subject. Linlin, when Princess Kama realizes the great cause of restoring the country, we can return to Tadia. Maybe Linlin can also see Princess Kama. Great, Mom, can we meet Dad when we return to Tadia? You said Dad lives in the sky in Tadia now, right? Linlin has a lot to say to her dad. When the time comes, you can take Linlin, Go to heaven and talk to your father. Linlin misses dad, right? Mom will find a way for you to meet dad then. The woman stroked the little head of the girl next to her with some sadness. This is a very large woman from the Bella clan. Compared with her, Kama is one size smaller. At this moment, this woman was comforting her daughter who was missing her father, but her expression suddenly changed. She raised her head and saw a huge, light monster in the sky falling downwards. This body has a huge body that a strong man should have, but it is definitely not bulky, but an extremely light flying monster. At this time, the monster is flying towards the ground, emitting powerful energy fluctuations while flying. In this case, except for special brainwave power fluctuations, almost all detection energy will not be able to detect him. Of course, ordinary planets still have many means to detect the fluctuations of powerful people, but this Dragon Bell star just doesn't have such means. The powerful mother of the Bella clan looked solemn. She could also feel that there was a more distinctive energy inside the fallen monster's body, covering his body. If it weren't for the mother's strength, it's extremely scary, otherwise we wouldn't have discovered it at all. Mom, the little girl next to her looked at her mother and asked strangely. Linlin, find a place to hide. Mom will be back to find you soon. The woman looked at the 3 or 4-year-old girl next to her, who was just the size of her palm. She lifted her up, and then activated her brainwave power, and the little girl flew to the amusement equipment on the side. Well, Mom, come back soon. Linlin will be good. The little girl seemed to understand something and nodded sensibly. The child's mother looked at the little girl worriedly, then her face straightened, and she looked at the falling huge body, tiptoeing towards the creature, and flew away without a trace of fireworks. Above the sky of Dragon Bell star. The defense of this Dragon Bell star is actually so poor. Even a strong man like me didn't notice when he came down. Jia Yan flies in the sky. Nowadays, he no longer needs any special skills when landing on a planet with ordinary gravity as before. Instead, he falls directly. The huge inertial force is no longer an obstacle to him. As long as he releases a part of the brainwave power can be eliminated. Silly boy, if it weren't for my help, you think it's really that easy to get down. Don't underestimate the power of technology and other strong people. Otherwise, you will die. The light and shadow monster was angry inside Jia Yan's body. Said. I understand, thank you, senior. Jia Yan smiled sarcastically. In fact, he had no idea whether he could successfully reach the Dragon Bell star at night and descend quietly because of the help of the light and shadow monsters. Otherwise, he could rely on his own strength. I really don't dare to say that I will not be discovered by Long Zongxing's technological power. Just when Jia Yan was somewhat grateful that he had the help of the light and shadow monster, he was slightly surprised. In the world below, there was actually the aura of a strong man rising slowly. Don't worry, I've checked it out. The feeling emanating from this strong man is that he is a member of the Bella clan. He will definitely not harm you. You can also ask her something about Long Zhong. Seeing the light and shadow monster reminded Jia. Rock path. Hearing what he said, Jia Yan put down his shocked expression for a moment, and then used his brainwave power to quietly look at the oncoming creature without arousing resentment. Sure enough, they are from the Bella family. Still a female Bella clan. After Jia Yan saw the face of the Bella clan woman approaching from afar, his vigilance became much more relaxed, because he heard from Kama that the existence of the Bella clan in Taia star was almost due to the UN Taia. She is a relatively friendly member of the royal family of Asia. Even if she is not an exiled warrior from Taia, she will definitely not report anything. Find bookstore. Of course, the vigilance should not be completely abandoned. After all, this female Bella clan member is a super strong person in the starry sky who even Jia Yan is slightly afraid of. Didn't you say that there are very few powerful people in the Bella clan? Why did I just meet one here on Dragon Bell Planet? The woman quickly came to Jia Yan. At this moment, she was already flying to a height of about 10,000 meters. Jia Yan also released the power of his brain waves and steadily stopped in mid-air. I don't know who you are, what's the point of coming to Dragon Bell Star? The woman asked in a cold voice after she came to about 100 meters in front of Jia Yan. She looked at Jia Yan's appearance, with a slightly confused expression at first, and then was slightly surprised. She obviously discovered that Jia Yan was the strong man of the giant Mosquito clan, Jia Yan. Jia Yan looked at this woman, and sure enough, what she released on her body was the level of strength of a starry sky level powerhouse, and she was not very old, no more than 100 or 200 years old. You must know that a starry sky level powerhouse, the longest one, can live 1,000 years, and those in the starry sky who are 100 or 200 years old are considered very young. Hello, madam, my name is Jia Yan. Jia Yan said calmly. Impossible. How could you be Jia Yan? As soon as the words came out, the other party said loudly in shock. Please subscribe for genuine subscription. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 678. Oh, you know me. Hearing the female cry, Jia Yan was a little surprised and showed some doubts. Omega Delta. Of course, I have never met Mr. Jia Yan before, but his name is very popular in Longzhongxing recently. I don't even know his appearance. But I think you are not him, right? The woman's expression became a little solemn. The appearance of the monster who called himself Jia Yan was somewhat different from what was announced in the media. Moreover, as one of the powerful people in the Taiya kingdom on the Dragon Bell Star, she had experienced that from afar. The aura of Jia Yan was completely different from the monster in front of him. Haha, that Jia Yan you said is not me. Well, you must not be a strong man from Longzhongxing, right? I hope you won't reveal my whereabouts. Otherwise, I can't guarantee your lovely daughter's safety. Safe. Jia Yan rolled his eyes slightly and looked at a piece of ground under the earth. This place is 10,000 meters high in the sky, and the scene of the earth is completely a small dot. But for a starry sky level expert, it is very simple to see the scenery below. The strong woman followed Jia Yan's gaze and looked down. Only the ground could be seen. His own daughter had already stepped out of her hiding place, looking at the sky where her mother could barely see her shadow. The face of this strong woman suddenly became ugly. Okay, I'm not a strong person on the Dragon Bell Star. No matter who you are, as long as you don't do anything to make me angry, I have no reason to reveal your information. The woman seemed a little discouraged. Then let me ask you some more questions. Jia Yan flew down. The place where he landed was the ground where the little girl was. The woman behind him was so stunned when she saw the scene that she quickly followed him down. Jia Yan didn't want to stay in the sky for too long, because even if he was shielded by brainwave power, he would still be discovered. So dropped down. As for flying to the daughter of this powerful man from the Bella tribe, it was just a guarantee. What a cute little girl. Jia Yan came to the ground and saw a little girl who was about the same as a 3 or 4-year-old child on earth standing there timidly, and said from the bottom of his heart. This is not a lie, because it has been so long since he came to the star field that Jia Yan has almost forgotten what it feels like to be a human on earth. And even the size of this little girl is not much different from that of an earthling child, so she will naturally gain Jia Yan's love. Stay away from her. The Bella tribe woman behind her suddenly came screaming with a change of expression, but before her attack could hit Jia Yan, she felt her body tighten suddenly. Jia Yan actually directly used his brainwave power to control her in mid-air. Now this woman was even more frightened. She originally saw that Jia Yan's strength was at the top starry sky level, so she was a little wary, but she never expected that a being who was just one level higher than her could use the power of brainwaves to control her so that she had no backhand power. Don't bully my mother. The little girl actually understood the battle on the field and rushed to Jia Yan's feet. Her small body did not even reach the diameter and height of Jia Yan's front feet, but she bravely came to Jia Yan's front feet and grabbed them with her little fists. Get up and punch him one after another. Jia Yan looked at the little guy in shock. Although he was not hurt by her beating, Jia Yan could still feel that her small fist contained a power far beyond that of ordinary people on Earth. It seems that even though they look similar, they are not from Earth after all. Jia Yan felt a little vaguely emotional and no longer had any feelings of nostalgia, so he simply put down the woman behind him using the power of brainwaves. At the same time, it was suppressed to the ground, unable to move at all. Are you really Jia Yan? The woman asked in panic after falling to the ground. Why do you think I'm Jia Yan now? Jia Yan was stunned, and then said strangely. Although my strength is at the upper stage of the starry sky, it is still impossible for an average peak powerhouse to use brainwave power to suppress me. It is probably only possible for you, who can transcend the level and kill the venerable level. Besides, if you are not Jia Yan, there is no need to pretend to be Jia Yan. For a strong person of your level, it is extremely embarrassing to do such an impersonation, the woman explained. Okay, you think I am Jia Yan. No matter if I am not Jia Yan, you answer a few questions for me, and then I will let you mother and daughter go. Of course, if you dare to reveal my whereabouts, then you and the children will definitely die. I believe you have seen my strength. If I want to kill you, it should be very simple. Jia Yan's words were slightly threatening. After that, Jia Yan asked a few questions. Not long after, his huge body gently lifted from the ground, without flying very high, and disappeared in a certain direction. Mom, Linlin is so scared. As soon as Jia Yan stepped forward, the little girl threw herself in front of the strong woman. Don't be afraid, Mom is here. The strong woman lovingly held her daughter in her arms. Thanks to her huge body, the little girl could use her huge breasts as a house. Is this really Jia Yan? Then the giant Mosquito fleet currently on Dragon Bell planet. Not long after, the strong woman who had comforted her daughter looked at the direction Jia Yan left with some inexplicable meaning. And there is no trace of monsters there. Jia Yan flies over the Earth. The scenery on Dragon Bell Star is really good. For the entire central area of the Northern Star Territory, this is a rural place, but many creatures from high-tech places prefer to come here to relax. The scenery here is pretty good. And the artificially constructed things are also well planned, and the beautiful vegetation is all well kept and beautiful. If Jia Yan hadn't known that there were unified cities on this planet, he would have thought that he was on an original ecological planet. Occasionally there are creatures walking on the ground. However, they never felt the behemoth in the sky. Even some of them had good strength, but they only noticed a weak energy passing through their heads. When they looked up, nothing was found. The concealment method taught to me by my seniors is much more powerful than what I have learned on my own before. Jia Yan looked at the creatures below with emotion. Even the peak level beings could not see him, this monster flying over their heads. Lamenting that the hiding method he learned was simply incredible. I'll contact the mercenary organization first to see what kind of medicine they sell in their gourds, and then it's the turn of the fake giant Mosquito fleet. Jia Yan thought for a while and then took out his communicator. This alien communication technology uses an encrypted transmission method, especially a powerful communicator like Jia Yan. The small communicator can not only connect to the normal network, but also use the encryption method inside the communicator. Encrypted communication across the entire planet can at least hide the content of the communication and prevent others from tracking your location. Jia Yan used the power of brain waves to dial a number, which was left by the mercenary organization. Hello, Your Excellency Jia Yan, it's exactly 1 month. You are indeed a punctual person. After the communication was connected, a strange voice came from the other side. Okay, I want to know what kind of test your mercenary organization wants to conduct on me, because I still have business to do on Longzhou planet. I hope the so-called test won't be too troublesome. Jia Yan didn't mind the voice. It was from a stranger, he just said coldly. Regarding the so-called threatening test of the mercenary organization, Jia Yan didn't want to believe them in his heart. It was just that the form was stronger than the others, and at this moment, Senior Light and Shadow was sure that there was no powerful existence on this planet, so he would agree. Jia Yan doesn't trust the other party, he trusts the Light and Shadow monster. Haha, okay, when you come to the largest city on the planet, where your giant mosquito fleet is, contact me again and I will send someone to receive you. Oh, by the way, please also be careful when you come here, don't be discovered by local monsters or entangled by the media, otherwise we will find it too troublesome and cancel this test. A sarcastic voice came from the other side, as if Jia Yan wanted the other party to test him, and the tone made Jia Yan very uncomfortable. Okay, I'll contact you when I get there. Jia Yan forced himself not to be angry and closed the communication. For Jia Yan, the mercenary organization at this time was an extremely huge giant. It was so huge that even the Light and Shadow monsters looked dignified. It seemed that 3,000 years ago, this so-called mercenary organization followed its master too. That is, the extremely powerful star-level senior, whom he has dealt with before. Therefore, Jia Yan cannot offend the other party at this moment. Jia Yan, I probably know what the other party wants to test you. Haha, after hearing this guy's tone, I remembered that your energy performance is very similar to that of the Holy Strongman. They want to determine whether you are the one people in the family, no wonder, no wonder. Just when Jia Yan was still confused, the Light and Shadow monster, who had not spoken for a long time, suddenly said something to Jia Yan. Holy Strongman? What kind of holy strong man is this again? Jia Yan was a little surprised. Regarding the holy powerful one, he had heard about it before in the deserted galaxy, but at that time he did not understand what the holy powerful man was. He did not expect to hear this term again in the northern star field. Haha, a holy powerhouse is, to put it bluntly, a family that once had a galaxy-level powerhouse. This family now has branches in several star regions. Although it does not exist in the northern star region, it can be found in the southern star region and Loci. The big empires have them, and they have great influence, and the mercenary organizations don't want to provoke them, so they want to know if you are from a family of holy powerful men, so that they can conduct some tests on you. The Light and Shadow monster chuckled. So that's how it is. They are actually throwing taboos at this family of holy powerful men? Also, when I was in the deserted galaxy, several of the top 10 powerful men also said something about the holy powerful men. No wonder they also had a strange attitude towards me. Look like that. You actually think I am some kind of holy and powerful person, Jia Yan suddenly realized. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito author, Bulletin U. Chapter 679. You are right. Although I know that you are not a holy power, the powerful people here don't understand. Come, I will tell you a way to hide it from them, and then maybe I can fight against your Taya kingdom. Maybe it will be helpful. The Light and Shadow monster smiled faintly, and then whispered to Jia Yan. The two giant cities on Dragon Bell planet were originally located at opposite poles, and from the outside world, the protrusions on both sides of the planet were caused by these two cities. It can cause changes in the appearance of the entire planet, which shows how huge the city is. Jia Yan flew to one of them. Although the size of the two cities is not much different, the one on the North Pole side is actually slightly larger. The name of the city is Longzhong Na. It is called Nikeng for short. The people in the mercenary organization called Jia Yan to come to the largest city, so this was the city to take. The sky and the earth were covered with vegetation. Not long after Jia Yan flew quickly, Nana City appeared in front of his eyes. In Jia Yan's opinion, the characteristics of this planet were primitive, but when he saw the city, Jia Yan's eyes lit up, and he almost thought he had entered another world. Big. Too big. And it's too busy. In Jia Yan's opinion, the size of the entire city is almost the same as a country on Earth. What would a city with an area of more than 5 million square kilometers be called a country if not a country? In this city, perhaps it is a matter of architectural style. The entire buildings are stretched towards heights. A building of 1,000 meters is equivalent to a bungalow on the Earth. A building of 10,000 meters is embarrassed to be called a high-rise building. It reaches 30,000 meters. Only buildings above are worthy of being called high-rises. The center point of the entire city, which is the sharp point of the North Pole protrusion of the Dragon Bell star from the outside world, is also the dozens of large buildings in the center of the entire city, reaching a terrifying height of 50,000 meters. With the construction of buildings, it is no wonder that the entire planet can be seen from the outside world that the North Pole is wearing a hat. Just when Jia Yan came to the outskirts of the city, there was a boundary in the city. Mr. Jia Yan, will you adhere to Princess Kama's philosophy and not use the giant mosquito fleet in non-peaceful wars? Mr. Jia Yan, please wait a moment. The strength of your fleet is highly praised by the outside world. What do you think of this? Some people say that your fleet, combined with Princess Kama's strong tactics, and your personal strength, it's worthy of a large fleet with more than one battleship. Do you think this assessment is correct? Monsters of various shapes followed behind a monster with a huge body. Various photographic equipment kept moving around the monster's body, as if to record his entire body. The monster that was photographed has a blue shell, a large and slender mouthparts, and a pair of slightly spread wings. It looks almost exactly like Jia Yan in the Houda League and the Hungta League Forward War. Seeing so many interviews, this monster seemed to enjoy the feeling of being in the spotlight. He stopped in his tracks and said somewhat mysteriously, "Yes, the giant mosquito fleet will honor Miss Kama's promise that we will not use this armed force to fight against any force in the future, and we will disband the fleet as soon as possible. Such a huge fleet is not good for the Northern Star territory. This mistake has been recognized, so the giant mosquito fleet will become a thing of the past. As for the combat effectiveness of the giant mosquito fleet, what I want to say is that there were too many unfavorable factors in the first battle of the Hungta Alliance. Our giant mosquito fleet used some unique tactics. Otherwise, we would not be able to defeat them with our true strength. Master Jia Yan, do you have any proof of what you said? Do you dare to sign the contract? Of course, tomorrow I will sign a contract with Miss Kama and the envoy sent by the Pacific Kingdom, which will officially start the first step in the friendly relationship between the giant mosquito fleet and the Pacific Kingdom. The blue Jia Yan walked quickly and then entered a large flying car. A large wave of reporters could not keep up and had to give up tracking. However, all of these reporters had ecstatic expressions on their faces, as they had another piece of big news today. Tomorrow, the giant mosquito fleet will sign a contract with the Pacific Kingdom. It is estimated to be a friendly contract, which will give many people who are more concerned about this development something to talk about. This giant mosquito fleet is really strange. I originally thought they came here to cause trouble for the current royal family of Taya Kingdom. I didn't expect that as soon as they arrived on Dragon Bell planet, they turned into a friendly person. It's so strange. You don't know, right? A foreign force wants to stir up trouble in our Northern Star region. The strength of this giant mosquito fleet is still a little bit behind. If we don't know, maybe this giant mosquito fleet will have a long time ago just get a warning from a large force. Or maybe this so-called giant mosquito fleet studied the horror of our Northern Star region on the way here, and maybe gave up the idea of attacking Taya Kingdom. That's right, a country bumpkin fleet. We are really bored. We have to send so many people to interview this fleet. And Jia Yan, look at that look. I probably haven't seen a few big interview scenes. I'm almost in a trance. Just like a true country boy. A reporter looked at the giant speeding car leaving. Each of them changed his respectful attitude before, and seemed to be extremely disdainful of the giant Mosquito fleet and Jia Yan. On the giant flying car, Jia Yan felt happy and flew up. I see that you are happy. If you are not embarrassed, I will be embarrassed for you. Fortunately, we are now pretending to be members of the giant Mosquito fleet, otherwise I would not act together with you, a bumpkin. The coquettish Kama sat in front of this huge blue monster, and seemed to have no good impression or respect for Jia Yan at all. Haha, there are so many interviews. If it weren't for the mission, I really want to be this Jia Yan. It feels so honorable. Unfortunately, the mission will end tomorrow. Alas, the huge blue monster, some lamented. What kind of giant mosquito do you want to be? Go ahead and be one yourself. I think you look a lot like him. In the future, they might become bastards that everyone shouts about, and you will also be hunted down by strong men. I'll probably interview you more by then, huh? Nakarma snorted coldly. You, a woman of the Bella tribe, have a crow's mouth? Are you still the same as being hunted? I'm different from you. I'm a woman of the Bella tribe. But when it comes to makeup, my original appearance is only 70% similar to Nakama. If I cover it up with makeup, I'm 90% similar. You don't understand. Oh. Then when our mission ends tomorrow, let's change back to the original appearance. What about Jia Yan? I really think that if he really comes in front of me, I can kill him with one stab. If the superiors let me just kill him and continue to be Jia Yan, his status is so high. That blue monster is a pity. You still want to kill him? Haha, if this Jia Yan is so easy to kill, why are the higher UPS going to such trouble to ask us to come here and pretend to be them? Don't be stupid. You won't even know if someone slaps him to death. How did you die? I advise you to finish this mission and quickly find a place to hide. Wait until the giant mosquito fleet is destroyed, or leave the northern star field before coming out. Otherwise, you will have no chance of surviving when you encounter Jia Yan. Kama scoffed at the suggestion that the Azure monster wanted to kill Jia Yan. Humph, maybe I can really kill him. I am also a high-level star in the sky after all. No, if I really have a chance next time, I will try and kill him. Then I will be the real Jia Yan. Oh my god, how come your partner for this mission is a simple-minded guy like you? Fortunately, the mission will end after signing the contract tomorrow, otherwise I will be killed by you sooner or later. That Kama brushed his forehead wordlessly, helplessly the way. What they don't know is that the person they thought would never come to this planet has already arrived. The movements of the real giant mosquito fleet have always been watched by those forces who were aware of the progress of the situation. However, after arriving near the Dragon Bell star, this fleet was not shaken by the variables on the Dragon Bell star and instead docked. In the starry sky outside Dragon Bell star, it seems that they dare not move forward. The forces behind this are certainly not afraid of the real giant mosquito fleet daring to rush out. They still have many back UPS. However, the giant mosquito fleet unexpectedly came to an unreasonable stagnation, which left these forces with no back UPS. Effect. They had no idea that the strongest man of the giant mosquito fleet, who was also the highest officer of the fleet, would cross a distance of hundreds of millions of kilometers alone and without anyone noticing. When we came to Dragon Bell star, even the only venerable level of Dragon Bell star was concealed because of the help of the light and shadow monsters. Haha, these two fakes still want to sign a contract on our behalf tomorrow? If you sign this contract, even if Kama and I show up in the future, things will become troublesome. If the yellow mud falls into your crotch, it will be shit or shit. Fortunately, I'm already here. Don't even think about signing this contract tomorrow. Far away on the edge of the city, a huge light screen floated in front of Jiayan. What flashed on the screen was the scene where a group of reporters were interviewing the high-level officials of the giant Mosquito fleet. There was something shining in Jiayan's eyes. This conspiracy can be said to be vicious. As long as the contract is signed, and most of the forces in the entire Northern Star region are happy to see no more changes in Taia Kingdom, even if Jiayan and Kama said that these guys would definitely regard this contract as official if they kept silent. Then the problem becomes big. Fortunately, he has arrived. Humph. Let's deal with the mercenary organization first. After all, this mercenary organization is a more terrifying force. As long as its problem is solved, it won't be too late to cause trouble again. Jiayan flapped his wings and flew up gently. In this huge city, there were more powerful people, even many at the starry sky level. Jiayan did not dare to be too showy, he just looked for small roads and walked forward quietly. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito author, Bulletin U. Chapter 680. Jiayan himself couldn't remember how long it had been since he had done something secretly. Flying quietly in this vast city now was quite different. Although his body is huge, he can fly close to the ground. Most creatures in this city go out either by flying car or flying by themselves. On the contrary, they are not used much on the ground. Jiayan sees most of the creatures moving on the ground. They are some weak beings. Even if they occasionally encounter one or two starry sky-level beings, he can quietly escape from them. Finally, we arrived at a certain designated place. Your Excellency Jiayan, I have been waiting for you for a long time. A creature in the dark, a voice coming from somewhere. Jiayan, who had been prepared for a long time, was not too surprised, but looked there. There are not many powerful creatures on this planet that can be pointed out by light and shadow monsters, but this place is full of several. It is expected that he will be discovered by the other party as he moves forward. You guys are really easy for me to find. Jiayan looked at the group of monsters that appeared from the darkness, and then focused on the three monsters leading them. The strength of these three monsters are all high level in the starry sky. One is a curled up monster similar to a shrimp, which is slightly lower in strength. The strength of the other two is a bit shocking to Jiayan, because they are all extremely powerful among high-level experts. That category is even a little bit close to being able to kill enemies beyond levels. Haha, don't mind, Your Excellency Jiayan, this can be considered a part of the test. It seems that not only is your strength powerful, but your ability to disguise and infiltrate is also the best in the sky. If we didn't have your signal in our hands, we wouldn't be able to detect it. You were able to sneak into the city so quickly. The person who spoke was an entity that looked like a tree monster, with its entire head covered with messy leaves. However, his strength has almost reached the peak of the high-level stars, and Jiayan even found that his strength is vaguely the first among monsters. Humph, it's just that his hiding ability is stronger. It seems that he used to hide more enemies. This kind of existence is not strong in frontal combat, another high-level existence spoke coldly. There was actually a hint of hostility. He is also a high-level being, but unlike the tree monster, his moth-like body reveals a very young age. He is the youngest high-level being among the many stars Jiayan has seen. Of course, this requires excluding Jiayan himself. Seeing that this monster was showing hostility towards him, Jiayan naturally didn't have a good look on him. Oh? Sir, if you think that I am not strong in frontal combat, I happen to be free and can give you some advice. I wonder if you dare or not. Guide me? By you? I really don't know how high the sky is. The moth monster's demeanor changed, and then its breath suddenly turned, as if it was about to start a fight. Slow down. Seeing this scene, the tree monster said quickly. Young people, don't worry, today is your time to fight. Why start the fight now? Is this the time for us to fight? Jia Yan was stunned. He looked at the moth monster, analyzed it in his mind, and then suddenly realized, no wonder the moth monster had such an attitude towards him. It turned out that he was his so-called test subject today. Okay, this is not the place to talk. Your Excellency Jia Yan, please come with me. The tree monster was very satisfied with the fighting will of the two young people now, because he just wanted to conduct Jia Yan's test. At the same time, see if the moth monster has improved. If you have the will to fight, it means that the battle ahead will definitely be exciting. Jia Yan followed the other party without much thought. In just a few steps, we arrived in front of a huge building with an inconspicuous appearance. It is 20,000 meters high and covers an area of about 50 kilometers long and wide. It can be described as a majestic giant mountain. If this building were placed on Earth, it would definitely be a miraculous existence, but in the city of Na, where giant tall buildings abound, it would be nothing. Go in. This is actually a stronghold for our mercenary organization to take over the city. There are facilities inside that allow you to give it a try, the tree monster said to Jia Yan. Jia Yan was silent for a while. Hearing the light and shadow monster whisper something in his ear, he nodded and followed him to the inside of the building. Jia Yan, I think you are so young but have such strength. Your family background must be extraordinary. As a group of people were walking forward, the tree monster asked Jia Yan casually, seemingly unintentionally. Coming. Jia Yan secretly said in his heart, then he looked around mysteriously, and asked with some confusion about the tree monster, how do you know? But my family does not allow the younger generations who are practicing outside to tell the story of their family. My name, please don't ask too many questions. It's easy to talk about. After the tree monster's expression changed, he quickly said with a smile. He seemed to be sure of something, and then Jia Yan felt the monster, faintly moving toward the monsters following him, and used the power of his brain waves to transmit a few words. Those monsters vaguely understood something, and looked at Jia Yan differently. As for the young moth monster, he didn't seem to hear these words, and he still looked extremely jealous of Jia Yan. Jia Yan didn't want to come inside the building of the so-called mercenary organization. After all, it was full of risks. Fortunately, the light and shadow monster told him that there was not much danger in this building, so he ventured in. The monsters walked through the external passage of the tall building, and saw that the internal space was huge. The first floor was a huge hall. Because it was used to receive large creatures, it was not only wide, but also high. The first floor is almost 500 meters high. Please follow me, the tree monster greeted, and then a group of monsters came to a large platform. They squeezed in together and it was not crowded. When all the monsters were on the platform, the tree monster pressed the light screen button suspended on the platform, and the entire platform floated upwards. It turned out to be a function similar to an elevator, but it was as huge as a huge ground with a length and width of 1 mile. Upward high-tech items. This elevator rises extremely fast, at least much faster than the elevators on Earth. When Jia Yan looked at the number on the light screen and saw it reached 35, the elevator slowly stopped. Here we are, this floor is where you can fight with confidence, the tree monster said to Jia Yan and the moth monster. Fight? Why do I have to fight with him? If this is your test, I have the right to refuse. Jia Yan looked at the monsters standing beside him coldly and said with a very unhappy expression. Oh, if you're scared, just say so. I think it's just a trick to kill the enemy at a higher level. Before the tree monster could respond, the moth monster had already laughed at him. As a young strong man, wherever this moth monster goes, he is not respected by other monsters. Even when some venerable level monsters give him advice, they all give in. He passes through fighting with venerable level monsters again and again. He thought of ways to deal with the environment control ability of the venerable level monsters, so even if he had not fought to kill enemies beyond levels, he believed that his strength could definitely kill enemies beyond levels, but Jia Yan did it first, and I feel extremely uncomfortable in my heart, just like a human being has swallowed a fly. When I see Jia Yan in person at this moment, I naturally speak coldly to him. Am I scared? Haha. Jia Yan looked at the monster, then smiled helplessly and shook his head. The meaning in his tone was very clear, that this moth monster was simply funny. You bastard, now I challenge you, do you dare not to fight? You are just an outsider, do you know who I am? Get over here. When the moth monster saw Jia Yan's attitude, he became extremely angry. A sharp tentacle on his head stretched out like a whip and swung it towards Jia Yan. Now Jia Yan has no choice but to fight if he doesn't want to. What's more, if the opponent provokes him so much, if he doesn't fight, he is simply convinced that he is afraid of the opponent's argument. Humph, I don't know whether to live or die. A ray of light flashed in Jia Yan's eyes. After that, his body dodges lightly. Although he avoided the attack of the opponent's tentacles, he flew out from the platform. The outside world is on the 35th floor of this huge building. The entire platform is completely empty of anything and is directly an open area. Jia Yan flew to the platform, and the moth monster also chased him down. His previous blow did not intend to directly hurt Jia Yan, but forced him to go down to the outside of the platform. Find the book garden. Jia Yan looked around and saw that there were some sophisticated instruments on the empty platform, both on the ground and on the walls. When they jumped onto the platform, the tree monster on the elevator pressed a button, and then the entire platform there was a flash of light. This radiance can obviously defend against huge energy. As long as it does not break through to a certain extent, it is impossible to break through the energy radiance on the platform. Jia Yan, don't worry about this defense. As long as you use a little force, it can be destroyed. It can't trap you. When Jia Yan was forced to the platform by the moth monster, the light and shadow monster said something in his body. Jia Yan, accept your fate. Before Jia Yan could thank the light and shadow monster, the moth monster that attacked with its tentacles and forced Jia Yan off the elevator came like lightning. He laughed a little proudly at this moment. Jia Yan, you even dodge my tentacle attacks, so you think you can fight with me? You are just a country boy among country people. I will show you the real top starry sky. What kind of strength is a strong man? This moth monster wants to sprint. Obviously the opponent's main attack weapon was the tentacles on the top of his head. At this moment, one of the tentacles stabbed out fiercely again. Moreover, there was a kind of powder falling all over his body. This powder was poisonous and could kill people quickly. At the same time that these two monsters started to move, the tree monster on the elevator platform and several other monsters were watching this scene. Sir, do you think it's really possible that this Jia Yan is from that race? A monster stood next to the tree monster and asked with some doubts. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 682. Oh, my lord, are you sure you want to admit defeat? Forced in front of him by the opponent's attack, Jia Yan did not feel that he was the dangerous one. Instead, he asked the tree monster indifferently. He was a little shocked. It seemed that this tree monster was really not an ordinary high-level starry sky. He actually saw his true strength. At the moment when he was about to defeat the moth monster with one blow, he admitted defeat. It seems that there are still many strong people in the world. Jia Yan feels that it is not good for him to be invisible. Otherwise, how could the other party admit defeat the moment before he explodes his strength? That's right, our mercenary organization has given up. Jia Yan, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. You are so powerful that I even consider myself inferior. The object of this test is a joke to you. In order to prevent Baiken injured, we admit defeat and are convinced of defeat. After all, Baiken, whom you look down on, is also a rare top talent for us. The tree monster looked at Jia Yandao solemnly. Except for him, all the monsters listened in shock. This tree monster actually gave up to Jia Yan? What happened? Hasn't Jia Yan always been at a disadvantage? It wasn't even certain whether he could follow through with this attack, so why did this tree monster quickly admit defeat? The moth monster is even more unbelievable. He doesn't have much respect for this tree monster. After all, he thinks that his strength is equivalent to that of a venerable monster. Now it is impossible for him to agree with this tree monster. Statement. Asshole, I'm going to win, you say I lose. Jia Yan, it seems that you and this guy have been in private contact for a long time. Just wait, I will deal with you first, and then kill this scum in the Mercenary Association, leave it to me. Die. His strength was already concentrated to the extreme, and that move was still in front of Jia Yan. At this moment, he saw the opportunity and spit out his front foot fiercely. Boom! A huge shock wave appeared on the entire floor, and even the building shook. You must know that this is a safe floor built by the mercenary organization at a great cost, but it was shaken by this blow, and there was a scene of destruction. It can be seen that this was a huge amount of energy. Jia Yan looked at the tree monster speechlessly, and saw a trace of anger in the other party's expression. From this, it can be seen that this young moth monster is not from the Mercenary Association at all, at least not from the Mercenary Association. He won't be an obedient being, so Jia Yan doesn't have to show too much mercy to the being who wants to kill him. Moreover, the other party thinks that Jia Yan is the sacred strong man. If he doesn't have a strong temper at all, then they might all doubt Jia Yan's true identity. Humph, do you really think you can beat me in terms of strength? You're a frog in a well, Jia Yan shouted coldly, expressing the tree monster's thoughts. Then his head moved directly at the last moment. Turning his head, the opponent's front foot attack failed. Jia Yan's speed changed to a terrifying level at this moment, and there was a faint fluctuation in space in his figure, making it seem that the opponent in front of him couldn't see Jia Yan clearly. Yan's movements made him even a little confused as to where he was. His front foot seemed to be stretched out from the space. This kind of thrust had actually been encountered by Jia Yan's previous opponents, such as the top 10 strong players in the Desolate Galaxy, Pai Lan, and the number 1 player from the Red Tower Alliance, Fang, commander of the 10th Army. But the trick Jia Yan used seemed to be different from them. He directly passed through the space, and then suddenly appeared behind the opponent. The moth monster looked in front of him in shock. He thought that his blow would definitely hit Jia Yan, and then his identity as the strongest young man would be confirmed. Afterwards, he prospered and became a senior executive of the Northern Star Territory branch of the mercenary organization. But what he didn't expect was that when he attacked, he only saw the opponent in front of him shrunk, and the shadow of the opponent was lost in his sight. Now he was horrified, and at the same time a little bitterness arose from deep in his heart. In fact, he thought that Jia Yan was very strong, which was what he had been worried about before. He always thought that he could defeat the venerable level beings, but when he actually fought with those venerables, he always found that those seniors were vaguely following him. Just playing. This Jia Yan was the monster who truly killed the venerable head-on. Even if he never said it, he always regarded it as his biggest enemy, and there was always a doubt in his heart, that is, whether he was really there is a huge gap between him and Jia Yan. Now that the facts are in front of him, he can't even grasp the opponent's speed. The gap is too big. This thought just emerged in his heart. Puff! A sharp front foot gently stabbed into his body from behind, and at the same time, a brainwave force rushed into his body from the wound site, wiping out his last life force without any mercy. Jia Yan, the moth monster turned its head, only to see the cold eyes behind it, faintly mocking him. Until he fell to the ground and completely lost his vitality, the moth monster didn't even understand how the strength of himself and Jia Yan could be so different. What he didn't know was that if Jia Yan had used his strength from the beginning, the moth monster might have been able to block a few attacks, but his continued success had caused him to be careless, and he had consumed too much strength, so he could not resist Jia Yan. A sudden full blow resulted in a one-hit knockout. Not only this monster couldn't figure it out, but the other monsters on the side couldn't figure it out either. Even the tree monster had only seen that Jia Yan was hiding his strength before, but he never expected that the moth monster was as powerful as him. How could he be killed so easily? Saying this will definitely cause shock in the entire Northern Star territory. You must know that Baiken is the most powerful existence among the young starry sky high-level people in the entire Northern Star territory. No matter how he thought about it, he never dared to think that Jia Yan could actually kill this moth monster with one blow. You must know that even at the venerable level, he might not be able to do such a thing. You killed Baiken? This. The tree monster looked at Jia Yan with some surprise, but saw that Jia Yan, who had just killed someone at this moment, looked at him calmly. There was a kind of emotion in the originally ordinary sight. He didn't dare to look at Li Mang. The tree monster quickly looked away. After thinking about it for a while, he decided to announce the result. Your Excellency, Jia Yan won this test, and because Baiken violated the principles of the competition, he wanted to kill Your Excellency Jia Yan. Your Excellency Jia Yan accidentally killed Baiken during his counterattack. I judge that Baiken violated the rules first. Your Excellency Jia Yan has no fault whatsoever. That's right, Your Excellency Jia Yan is extremely powerful, but he just can't control his strength well. Several monsters on one side also shouted at the same time. You must know that they were all surprised by Jia Yan's strength at this moment. The blow just now, if there was no accident, means that Jia Yan has cultivated his true power to a high level. They are only a little bit away from the master level control of the world, and Jia Yan's strength and skill seem to be extremely high, which has another strength bonus. Such a terrifying strong man can be regarded as a venerable person. How dare they say anything wrong with Jia Yan? Even if there is a strong man who has something to do with Nabakan, he dare not say anything now. If he has any ideas, he will have to go back to the headquarters to talk about it. Is this Your Excellency's name, Baiken? I'm very sorry. I couldn't hold back and accidentally killed Your Excellency Baiken. Please give me my most sincere apology to Your Excellency Baiken's relatives. Jia Yan flew slowly. Get up, someone will probably take care of the body later. The few monsters on the elevator platform couldn't help but take a step back when they saw Jia Yan flying up. Now they don't have much confidence in the energy protection of the floor. Jia Yan's strength is a bit beyond their imagination. God knows if there is anything way to defeat the protection. Well, we will definitely bring His Excellency Jia Yan's apology. The tree monster gritted his teeth and watched Jia Yan fall next to him. He kept cursing the senior executives in the mercenary organization secretly in his heart. They judged Jia Yan his strength is enough to suppress him, but now it seems that even sending a venerable level over may not be enough. Thanks then. By the way, Jia Yan's body landed gently on the elevator platform. The gentle sound made all the monsters feel a slight shock in their hearts, and they were so frightened that they did not dare to move. Your Excellency, this mercenary organization, is this just my test? I wonder what else your mercenary organization wants me to do, Jia Yan asked indifferently. The tree monster was startled, and after, he quickly started fighting. No, Your Excellency, Jia Yan's strength is beyond our imagination. I believe that the subsequent tests will not be difficult for you at all. Of course he said no. If Jia Yan's strength was at this level, the tests he had planned to test to see if he was a holy power would no longer be necessary. Isn't this a holy strong man? Who is a holy strong man? Also, on behalf of our mercenary organization, I sincerely invite you to join this organization. As long as you join this organization, I dare not say anything else. At least you are in the Northern Star territory, and this organization can still easily help you with some things. It's settled. And even if you go to other nearby starry sky areas in the future, the energy of this organization will still be able to reach those places, which will definitely be helpful to your travels, the tree monster said without any pause. Not everyone can join a mercenary organization, but a holy strongman is still a holy strongman who may become an extremely powerful person in the future. The mercenary organization will never be stingy with a mere quota. Oh, can you help me settle things? For example, when Jia Yan heard this, he immediately became interested. You must know that although the members of the mercenary organization in front of him are not powerful, in fact, the mercenary organization is not powerful. As he could imagine, even the seniors of Light and Shadow were extremely afraid of him. If it weren't for fear of this organization, how could Jia Yan accept any test without any benefit? Isn't that why I don't dare to offend the other party? If you can join such an organization, it would be a good thing to have an extra talisman. Reborn as an Interstellar Giant Mosquito author, Bulletin U. Chapter 683. For example, regarding your affairs in Taya, if you want to deal with the current Taya kingdom, then just join us and I believe that other forces will not intervene in your war. The tree monster talked about Jia Yan's benefits. What else? Jia Yan's eyes lit up, but this benefit seemed not enough. You are a strong man. Materials are very important to a strong man. Of course, your family's strength is not bad at all. It's just that you are in the Northern Star territory now, and your family's power must be beyond your reach. If you join us, not only can you get the maximum resources, but there will also be help from all parties. Is that so? Jia Yan was silent. In fact, at this moment, he was asking the light and shadow monster in his body. Senior, is it feasible to join this mercenary organization? Are there any dangers we may encounter in the future? Jia Yan, you have to think about this for yourself. Your origin is a secret group for the mercenary organization. They are destined to regard you as a master of the holy clan now. What will they do if they know that you are not a sacred clan in the future? It's really hard to tell. And joining this mercenary organization will have some restrictions, and it will even make you go to an extremely dangerous place, which is the most terrifying slaughterhouse. But if you join, what the other party said is right. You will get short-term benefits. How to do it depends on yourself. The light and shadow monster sent a message to Jia Yan. Such a big restriction? There are also risks in extremely dangerous places, so don't worry about it. Jia Yan was stunned for a moment, then shook his head directly at the tree monster. Sorry, I can't join the mercenary organization. Haha, the Holy Clan will not join other organizations casually, but the general holy powers will also join an organization as a guest. Don't worry, there are basically no restrictions on the identity of a guest, and there are no tasks. It is just equivalent to, of course, the benefits of being a friend are not that many. Your Excellency Jia Yan, I now invite you to join our mercenary organization as a guest. Do you agree? The tree monster seemed to have already thought of the possibility that Jia Yan would not join the mercenary organization. At this moment, without the slightest surprise, he took a step back and invited him to become the so-called guest minister. Guest? Jia Yan, you can agree to this. It's just a simple form. You will get a friendly quota from the other party. There are very few restrictions. For you, there are only advantages and no disadvantages, the light and shadow monster thought in Jia Yan's body. After a while he said, Okay, I am willing to be a guest of your organization. After hearing what the light and shadow monster said, Jia Yan nodded in agreement without any doubt. This light and shadow monster had helped Jia Yan so much that he believed in his judgment. Great, I wonder if you have a black card from this organization? If not, I will give you a blank one. The tree monster became even more happy when he heard that Jia Yan agreed. You must know that he had understood it a long time ago. The average holy strong man rarely joins any organization. If he wants to join, he has to become a guest of an organization. Even being a guest minister is difficult. When a holy and powerful man is born, there are often a bunch of organizations vying to get him to become a guest minister, because the holy and powerful man is really unnatural. Even if he just becomes a friend, there are many benefits. Black card? Can this kind of thing work? Jia Yan heard the other party's words and strangely took out the black card given to him by Tengo, one of the 10 strongest men in the deserted galaxy. Hey, this black card is rarely given out, but you actually have it. Oh, you got this black card from Tengo in that deserted galaxy, right? I didn't expect that he would give you this precious black card. You must know that this is a special black card given to him by this organization as a member of the Water Drop clan. But since it is given to you, this black card will belong to you in the future. You have also inherited his treatment. When the tree monster saw Jia Yan's black card, he seemed to show a hint of surprise, and stopped trying to take out other black cards, as if the black card he was about to give was one level lower than the one in Jia Yan's hand. Boy, do you know people from the Shuadai tribe? This race is not simple. It seems that your previous experience is quite interesting. The light and shadow monster also expressed doubts in Jia Yan's body at the same time, but for him, the water droplets the clan is a little bit powerful, far from enough to take seriously, so there is not much shock. However, when Jia Yan saw that the light and shadow monsters had noticed the water drop clan, he also became a little curious about the existence of this race. Then Your Excellency Jia Yan, I will inject some mercenary credits of this organization into your black card. You must know that this organization has branches in many places. As long as you are in the mercenary organization in this large area, you can exchange credits for certain supplies, and I believe some of them are things you can't exchange for in the outside world. The tree monster conducted some operations with several monsters on the side, and then asked Jia Yan to perform acknowledgement operations on several documents, and the entire process of becoming a guest was completed. The identity of a guest member who joins a mercenary organization is very simple, which is a little more complicated than becoming an official mercenary. With the tree monster on his side, the level is definitely enough. Okay, Your Excellency Jia Yan, you are now the official guest of our mercenary organization. In the future, you can use this status to obtain certain supplies from our mercenary organization. The tree monster seemed to want to get close to Jia Yan, but Jia Yan was more concerned about the fake giant mosquito fleet and did not think about how much being a guest of this mercenary organization would help him, so he refused the other party's invitation. Not long after, Jia Yan, the big mosquito figure, slowly walked out of the building. The tree monster in the rear returned to the building early due to Jia Yan's refusal. Jia Yan walked out of the building alone at this moment. At the same time, he looked at the terrifying giant building behind with some emotion. He never thought that he would enter the mercenary building. A crisis for the organization was actually passed like this. Jia Yan, the mercenary organization is a terrorist organization that you can't imagine. It's so powerful that even my master didn't dare to provoke it during the period of complete victory. Of course, if he really provoked it, the other party would have a huge headache, so you must be careful about this organization in the future. He can be ranked as one of the top forces in the vast area around here. I understand. Jia Yan nodded. Jia Yan didn't have much idea about this so-called test, but for the mercenary organization, Jia Yan's test caused an uproar. Jia Yan's strength completely exceeded the imagination of the entire mercenary organization's top management. This so-called giant mosquito clan is definitely a sacred powerhouse in their opinion, but what they thought before was that Jia Yan seemed to be in the barren galaxy and was not very powerful yet, and in this northern star field, he must have just been promoted. It took too long, so for Jia Yan, they did not dare to send out too powerful experts, because even the holy experts need a period of growth. Originally, these beings thought that even if Jia Yan could defeat the moth monster Baikan, it is destined to be a battle between dragons and tigers. Jia Yan is unlikely to win unless he pays a certain price. But they thought wrong. Jia Yan's previous battle with the venerable level figure in the Hungta alliance was considered to be opportunistic, but Baikan's strength was not even higher than that of a venerable, but at least it was at the top of the high-level powerhouses. The senior leaders of these mercenary organizations' existence never imagined that Jia Yan could defeat it easily. Quickly, list this Jia Yan as a holy race with great potential. This race is worthy of being a strong race famous throughout the starry sky. Although there are no star-level strong men anymore, their combat power is too strong. This Jia Yan might not be able to. He is also a mainstay among the future holy warriors, so we will list him as a key target of attention. Please help him if he has any difficulties in the future. In an inexplicable place, an incomparably powerful monster sighed lightly. But it's just such a sigh. It seems that for him, Jia Yan's existence is worthy of such a sigh. This powerful being just settled Jia Yan's problem and then made arrangements for other matters. Is the Lusai Empire urging you again? This country is really open to talk, but our mercenary organization is not something they can provoke. Presumably this empire does not dare to ask for people from us. Okay, let's just let the Northern Star. You should just let yourself have a headache. Their most powerful genius actually died in the hands of Jia Yan. I don't know what kind of shock the Northern Star territory and those families will have. This powerful existence faintly shook the world. Hearing this, the strong man who came to take orders trembled constantly. After receiving the reply, he quickly retreated. Not long after, the shaking here stopped, as if nothing happened. No matter what impact it will cause, find Jia Yanzuo at Chiyuan. At this moment, he does not seem to care at all about the shock in the northern star field that he has caused. There was no need to care in the first place. He did not exist in this star field. If possible, he would rather not have the giant Mosquito fleet or the strength he has gained now. Instead, he would return to Earth and live a peaceful life. Really, Jia Yan was a little tired. But there are always so many things going on, and even if he wanted to take a break, it would be impossible. Okay, the crisis of the mercenary organization has been overcome, and the so-called giant Mosquito fleet is next. This Li Gui is really here on the Dragon Bell Star, stirring up trouble and trouble. Even many big giants in the center of the Northern Star Territory forces are also coming to join in. They should know very well that this is basically the fault of Zibei. If they are still playing an unclear game here, they simply don't take our orthodox giant Mosquito fleet in their eyes. After Jia Yan walked out of the mercenary organization's building, he took out his optical brain and looked up some information about the fake version of the giant Mosquito fleet. Tomorrow is the time when they sign the contract, right? Then I will show up at that time and let the public see the fate of the Zibei goods, Jia Yan thought with a bright eye. Jia Yan didn't have much fear about the strength of the so-called giant Mosquito fleet, and just now he analyzed the strength of the entire Dragon Bell Star. In addition to the top starry sky level warriors of this mercenary organization, Long Zhong, there are only 5 or 6 top starry sky experts among Zhongxing, and there is only one at the venerable level.